So this is Lee, and this is Alcmy Intuitive Arts, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. I'd like to welcome your frequency to mine, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Welcome to Alcmy Intuitive Arts for entertainment only. Use your discernment. All rights reserved. Everyone is welcome. Do no harm. Join our community. Thank you.
So today we're going to talk about alignment, and we're going to talk about getting ourselves in alignment. And what does that actually mean? I mean, people talk about aligning their frequency, and it sounds like crazy speak. Like, what the hell does that mean? And to many people it is nonsense. I mean, to many people it's nonsense. But if you find yourself here with me, it's not nonsense. It's basically the foundation of everything that we do, of everything that we create, of every person that we meet, of every lesson that we learn. So I'm going to use an example. So when I talk about frequency, let's think in terms of a radio station. So I'm going to use two ends of the spectrum. We are going to tune ourselves to K-Love, K-L-O-V-E, and that is the frequency of love. That's divine guidance, universal consciousness, God, the Most High, Jah, Allah. This is the frequency of universal consciousness, right? They say that universal consciousness, God, the divine, is the highest frequency. It is a frequency of light. And so to align with what your goals are in life, you want to tune your own vessel to K-Love. Okay? Now, on the other side of the spectrum of this radio channel, this radio dial, is K-L-O-S-T, K-Lost. So, this is the channel of people that are just out here kind of, going through the motions. They're not really plugged into anything that is, serving them, so to speak. They're just kind of going with the flow and plugging into whatever channel they're at. And this channel, K-Lost, tends to be at the lower end of the dial. And so when you think about tuning your vessel, you want to tune it to the highest frequency possible. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by many different things. You do that by finding grace around you. You do that by forgiveness. You do that by keeping your own vessel clean. And when I mean clean, I mean physically, mentally, emotionally. You want to keep your vessel clean. You can do things like exercise, meditate, pray, do things that bring you joy, listen to music. And, the music portion of the frequency is important, because we all know that in the real radio stations out in the world, there are songs or music that promote our well-being, and then there are songs or music that detract from our well-being. Somewhat like a propaganda. Like K-Lost is a propaganda channel. It tells you to, potentially hurt people. It tells you to diminish people. It tells you to be involved in violence. It tells you to potentially degrade yourself. It tells you to move away from K-Love. And by listening to this channel, you are subconsciously tuning your vessel to that frequency. Now, the frequency can also be a television station as well, or a YouTube channel, or a TikTok channel, or Snapchat, whatever. You can find these different channels through different methods, right? We all know this. And there's also people that are talking heads for different viewpoints. And I'm not saying that you should go to a religious channel, because we're not talking about religion here. Although religion can be an avenue to go to K-Love or to go away from K-Love. There's different types of religions. These are dogma. People get stuck in these types of ideologies, and the deeper and deeper they go, the more potential trouble they could get themselves into if they become arrogant or pretentious or feel like their knowledge is the one that everyone should follow. Now, what I speak of is not a religion. It is a spiritual state of mind. It is talking about the natural law of the universe. Each and everything has a resonant frequency. And resonant means that it creates its own energy when in alignment with something else. It interacts with that other frequency, and it is able to potentially create something out of that engagement, or just operate without losing energy. Okay? A resonant circuit does not lose energy. It propagates on and on and on without losing energy. And that is the same thing that happens when you find somebody that you are in alignment with. Your energy resonates with them, and it is seamless. It doesn't take your energy. Now, if you're operating at the lower end of the channel with Kayla Lost, you are definitely drawing from people's energy. If somebody you know is tuned into Kayla, they're tapping into your energy, and you may come away from that engagement feeling exhausted. And that's a clue. That's a red flag that this is not in alignment. Because remember, if you are operating in resonance with somebody, then this will naturally feel good. And it will indicate that you're tuned in to K-Love. And when you're in resonance with a person, with a place, with a thing, with your passion or something like that, it is going to flow effortlessly, meaning that you are going to naturally drop into that, and the pathway is just going to open up for you. And you don't need anybody else's opinion. You don't need anybody else's blessing. Oftentimes, if you're in K-Love frequency, people who are in K-Lost are going to feel like they can't relate to you. And so they may disparage you. They may put you down. They may call you crazy. They may think you need help. They may, whatever. And they're going to have a whole host of talking heads with them that's going to be on their side to disparage you, to make you look foolish, etc. But keep in mind, if you're in alignment with K-Love, with the Most High, with your highest calling, with your passion, this is going to be effortless, and eventually you will see success with this. So this is my basic example of what it's like to come into alignment. Consider your vessel, your body, as a tuning fork, so to speak. Like, tune your vessel to your highest frequency. And when you do that, you're naturally going to see your life evolve. You can also literally see the evolution in the way you look, the way you thrive, the way you have discernment in your life, your ability to manifest, because in the great abyss, the great chaos, you are going to be sending out a frequency from K-Love that is going to align with an existing frequency in that range. And when that happens, you're going to have synergy. You're going to have a dance between your frequency and that frequency, and it's going to be creative. It's going to be rewarding. It's going to be enjoyable. Now, many people that operate in K-Lost, they will find that at some point in time, they're up against the law of diminishing returns, meaning they may have had some success operating in that lower range of the dial, but they're going to find eventually that they're going to take some losses from operating from tuning to Kalos. My silly analogies. And then it is at that point that they will make a decision that they don't want to continue to operate in that lower frequency range. They want to retune to the higher frequencies. And as they retune to the higher frequencies, they're going to see their life change. They're going to, feel some regret about maybe what happened before, but they recognize that by tuning in to the higher frequency range, they are going to be able to perhaps make amends for what happened before, correct their life, be happier, be a better citizen, so to speak, be a better lover, be a better, and when I say lover, I mean the well-rounded portion. It's one thing to be able to knock it down, but it's another thing to sustain that. You can knock boots with anybody. I mean, literally anybody. And, it can be awesome, but is that sustainable? And that's an analogy for everything, whether it be a job, whether it be a career, whether it be your abundance, etc., your ability to manifest new things. You will encounter the law of diminishing returns if you stay tuned to Kalos. So, with that said, I encourage you to tune your vessel, and since you're here, you are tuning your vessel. You wouldn't be here if you weren't in some kind of higher frequency. And with that said, peace, love.